Welcome to another episode of Chalk Talk. Today, we're going to talk about a very integral part of schools, the library. For most of us, the library conjures up an image of tall bookshelves, whispered conversations, and hushed giggles. With the digital revolution, the role of the library has evolved, and so has the role of the librarian. To talk about it, we have with us today Heeru Bhojwani. Heeru is a K-12 librarian, information curator and coach at the American School of Bombay. Her area of expertise lies in designing and building libraries and training other librarians to incorporate their school's curriculum to support 21st century skills with a variety of reading, writing, and research skills. Welcome to Chalk Talk, Heeru. We're so excited to have you on our show, and we're really looking forward to your perspective on a librarian's role in a school.
Thank you, Chayan. Thank you, Chalk Talk, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, librarian's role is a little different from a teacher's role, yet it goes deep in impacting learning outcomes of students. So tell us a bit about it. How do librarians impact learning outcomes?
You're right. Librarians have a very crucial role as well as a very delicate role. It's between a teacher and being a librarian. So I think librarians have guide the students in multiple ways. So for example, when the child is learning, a student is learning, there is one aspect of curiosity, and there's another aspect of expressing oneself. So when the child is curious, a student is curious, and an individual is curious, I think the librarian's role is, for instance, for example, if a child is interested in the concept or the topic of poaching, then the librarian is able to direct the child towards the resources that teach the child about poaching. It could be a website, it could be a magazine, it could be a podcast, it could be a TEDx talk. So giving a variety or a plethora of sources for the child to learn about poaching, because there's not one way a child learns. And if a child is bent towards literacy, then it's able to provide the child the opportunity to express themselves in the form of poetry, newsletters, have a magazine, create a library podcast, or so many social media options are available. Create a website where children can express their stories and their writing and put that out there for them to be a published author. So I think those are two important ways of looking at the librarian's role as evolving and changing.
So well, that also then implies that a librarian is a very skilled professional, because and also somebody who keeps updating their knowledge as times change. So what do you recommend for librarians? I mean, how do they sort of keep themselves updated?
Primarily, I truly believe if it's in a school, I'm taking a school setup. It's very important for the school administration to be very progressive and encouraging, because librarians by profession are very shy and not very outcoming and an extrovert, let's put it that way. So having a very progressive administration, a progressive school, a progressive mindset with a great technology support, and also then is the individual, like the librarian, feels encouraged to try new practices. And then also make collaborations with the technology teachers and other teachers. So to answer your question, to be current and to stay, I surround myself on social media with like-minded people, administrators, principals, educators, teachers, technology, librarians who are progressive in their thinking and like trying out new things. So it kind of keeps me encouraged to try those things too. And of course, I attend some conferences, workshops, I read a lot on what's happening, the current trends. So one part is connections and following people on Twitter and LinkedIn. And the other part is reading and learning and practicing and having the courage to try things out. And that trying out happens when you have a very progressive administration and your supervisors allow you to try those practices. So it's a combination of things that helps to build the capacity of any librarian.
So it's the school system and the individual together they work to upgrade. Yeah. But I was wondering now, with so much tech coming into, well, in all facets of our lives, how can the librarian leverage tech to make the experience even more special for the student?
Um, First is again having a progressive administration and the tools. So
Mm-hmm.
one is a set of tools that the school provides. This is all in a school setting.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not in a school setting, is that again, every tool out there has hundreds of tutorials to practice on. So
Mm-hmm.
just personal learning and growing and practicing and keeping connections with people who do similar things. And everybody's on Instagram, everybody's on WhatsApp. So people are sharing constantly. And I think everyone's willing to learn and share with each other. And even in technology, when it comes to a school's environment, it's important for the schools to be progressive in a sense to allow and purchase databases that
Mm-hmm.
build the learning capacity as well as the knowledge content for students, because learning is not only about through reading, it's through multiple ways. So if the librarian is empowered to purchase databases, again, you need the support of the administration to allocate the funds to create that, then the librarian is encouraged to ensure that it's being used, it's in practice, it's being tried out and learned.
So these databases that you mentioned, could you elaborate a little more for those watching us? Maybe it could help them.
Yeah, so if you're looking at CBSE schools or IB
Mm-hmm.
schools and IGCSE schools, again, three different. I think everyone must have. I'm not going to mention the products. If you want me to, I'm happy to. First is to have a reading program, an
Mm-hmm.
online reading program that provides, um, one-to-one individualized learning and reading. And that's not controlled by the librarian per se. Everyone owns it for the whole school. So one is a reading program that everyone must have. And the other one is to have a database that has all subjects.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if I'm able to name some because I don't want to be biased from one product to another. All
Mm-hmm.
of the products are excellent and each one serves different needs of the students. So let our reading programs that are now controlled by AI. So
Mm-hmm.
that involves individualized learning, personalized learning, and reading practices depending on the levels of the child. So we talk about building literacy. How can we do that? Providing these tools, because not everything can be done by the teacher in 45 minutes or by the librarian who sees the child once a week. You can't
Mm-hmm.
expect the librarian to run the reading program. She can encourage, she can support the teachers and the administration. And a database like Brain Pop that has for kindergarten to grade 7 and 8, that has
Mm-hmm.
the uh, all the different subjects.
So do you find that libraries are becoming more digital, or do students still prefer to reach out to physical books?
I would say the space of the library is changing.
Mm-hmm.
In the past, people only read books because there was no other option, or magazines, or newspapers. But now there are so many options. So the library is now becoming a space, a collaborative space where, like a community space.
Mm-hmm.
So the role of the librarian is also changing. So yes, you need books. Yes, you need technology. Yes, you need databases. Yet you need a space where like-minded people can come together and hang out
Mm-hmm.
and produce something that will benefit the society in large or the school in large. So you could have a newspaper club, you could have a robotics club, you could have any of those clubs that has a space for them to use. And they can't hang out in the classroom, they can hang out in the library.
So these clubs, how are these clubs then supported by the librarian? What role do you play in that?
Multiple ways. So either you collaborate with the um, robotics teacher if you're interested in robotics, or
Mm-hmm.
you collaborate with the English teacher and work around that, or you start your own little club, like a newspaper club. Like I run a newspaper club, I run a magazine club, I run robotics. I kind of help. I wouldn't say I do. I'm interested, so I kind of support as much as I can, but not really. You can have a CSR club. You can have an SDG club. I mean, you're going to There are so many ideas. So the librarian takes on one of those capacities that she's interested in and runs a club with the teacher. So the teacher and the librarian work together. So she brings a different perspective. The librarian brings a different perspective, which will only benefit the student.
And so when you talk of a newspaper club, for example, so does it consist of students who are volunteers to be part of the club, or?
Not volunteers, they run the club. I guide them. I teach them what are the elements of the newspaper in the electronic or the physical, either ways. What are the elements? What are the benefits of the headlines, subject headings, how many words, how do you make it concise, the copyright images and Creative Commons images. How do you, who's the editor? What are the rules? So I do the teaching part of it, but they do the actual work. And then finally we put it together and I do the final edit. But they do everything. So there, you want it to be student powered, student ownership, because I believe in giving students voice and choice. So giving them the, and they have it, they can do it. They're so smart.
Yeah, they are.
And they can even, so I also have a podcast club. So they do the podcast. I just guide them. What do we need to make that podcast successful? So it's a part of that big program that we run whenever we have students doing it.
Oh, I can feel the enthusiasm that you feel for your profession. Even though you're so far away, it just comes across. You've been such a trailblazer here. So why don't you share with our viewers what it is that you do to, sort of keep your enthusiasm and motivation levels high, and what is it that other librarians can do, to stay at the top of their game?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Everything that you do. Like I said, read, connect, try out, speak to your supervisors, tell them that what you're interested in, attend conferences, workshops. In fact, we have a librarian association for IB school librarians, and we also have a WhatsApp group for library matters. It's called Library Matters. Check out our website and just connect with all of us. And there are a whole bunch of like over 100, 200 librarians who are doing fabulous things. And it just becomes very encouraging and they're very helpful. So if you connect with one of them, they're saying, I want to learn this. Can you teach me how to do Canva? And there's somebody teaching you how to do Canva. If somebody wants to learn how to give an interview, there's somebody ready to support you with all of that. So just conferences, online workshops, connections, and just having a very supportive administration. So that helps.
It's been really interesting talking to you, and you've given us an insider's perspective into your role. Thank you so much for it. And it's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Chayan. It's a pleasure to join you in this Chalk Talk. Thank you.
Thank you all for watching us. I'm sure listening to Heeru would have been an eye-opener on the role of a librarian and how deep its impact can be. For more such interesting conversations, stay tuned to Raise the Bar. See you. Thank you.